Thoughts?
I love it. I hate being selected number one. So I am happy to put that monkey on someone else's back. And I think you talk about motivation. It was given to us. So I think, yeah, we're not happy about it. You know, that's not where we plan to finish. And I think it'll be good motivation throughout the season.
Do you use that? I mean, as a coach, that's a gift. Yeah, it's like built in, right? You don't even have to say anything.
Yeah, I mean, we'll discuss it for sure. You know, I think it's, you know, we'll talk about respect and, you know, but I always think these early polls, it's good for you guys because you can talk about things. But you know, it's where we finish in November, December, and that's going to be our priority in the process to get there.
Mm-hmm. You lost some key players, but you got some great ones coming back. Just talk about how would you describe this team entering the season?
I think we're deep in a lot of positions, which is it's a great problem to have. I mean, I think we're going to have some really tough decisions. We don't know what offense we'll run this year, and usually I have a pretty good idea of what we're going to do. So we've got a lot of questions to answer over the next, you know, it's a short preseason. You know, we've got about 2 weeks before we play. So I like a lot of the pieces. It's going to be trying to put the puzzle together.
Jaali, this is her senior year. She's had All-American. She may get the kill record. What has she meant to this program the last 3 years?
Yeah, Jaali's a special player. You know, that class was a special class and really catapulted us, took us from, you know, that 25 to 35 range to that 10 to 15 range. And Jaali's been a big part of that. You know, she's front row, back row, she's a leader. And then, you know, you talk about that class. All of those young women have developed significantly during their time here as human beings and as volleyball players. And, you know, I hope for them that they have a great senior year.
How much did that overseas trip really put you guys, you think, ahead of schedule as opposed to maybe past years where you didn't have that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see, but I think it's helped us a lot on, you know, the nervousness for the young players coming in. So I think you know, there's obviously going to be some nerves as they get started still, but I think they've worked through a lot of that. There's so much bonding that goes on. You know, it was interesting watching the freshmen play in matches in Europe. The first match, they were so nervous and really didn't play very well. And then throughout the 5 matches we played, just really progressed. So, you know, you hope that that's going to pay dividends when we walk on for the first real match, that they, you know, have a little bit of that confidence under their belt. And yeah, we'll see.
Did the seniors teach the freshmen and the younger players, you know, what you wanted them to? Did you get the leadership out of them on that trip that you wanted?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got incredible leadership. They talk a lot about, you know, what is Creighton volleyball, the expectations, and they walk the walk, you know, so they're not just, it's not a culture where they're just demanding things. This is what we do. We're supportive, but we're going to work really hard to be successful.
It's still a month away, but you get Nebraska, something you've longed for, and here in Omaha at the new arena. Talk about what that means to play the national champion.
Well, I just always think when we play Nebraska, it's a great showcase of all the talent in the state. You know, we've got a lot of Nebraska kids. They've got a lot of Nebraska kids. And, you know, I think both our program and the Nebraska program want to build volleyball in the Midwest. And I think this is you know, to spotlight and have that many people in an arena, you know, it should be a great celebration of our sport.
Rob said there's already 9,000 tickets sold for that. That's got to be.
Do you have yours?
Yeah, sure. But it's got to be a kind of a cool. This is going to be a great atmosphere and some that will prepare your girls down the road, won't it?
You know, I think that these matches are easy to get up for, you know, so I think the coaches will spend their time, will be much more focused on other matches throughout the year because, you know, you get to play in front of that crowd. The players, there's no extra motivation. There's no video that we need. There's no quotes. You know, it'll be a pretty cool experience. And, you know, I just hope, you know, I just hope every time we step on the court against any team, you know, they're one of many, many very good teams we're playing over the next 4 weeks in our non-conference schedule. I hope we put our best out there.
That schedule, I mean, you schedule the teams you do to A, obviously to get improved, but B, you got to keep an eye on the big picture. How much is that is to maybe put yourself in position where down the road if you're successful enough to host.
For sure. I mean, you know, we're building, you know, every match is resume building material. So, you know, our goals are to put ourselves in a situation to make the NCAA tournament because that's you know, only 64 teams get in, and there's, you know, only a small number that are at large bids. So we've got to make sure we take care of things, and you've got to play good teams to put yourself in that position. And then, you know, we hosted last year. That's a goal this year. We want to put ourselves in a top 16 seed so that we can be on our home court. And ideally, you don't want to be the 16th seed, because then you run into the number one, you know, so there's all those pieces to it. And scheduling tough is a big component. Now, every team we're playing in the non-con, we could lose to. I think every match is a winnable match, but you know, that's the fun and the pressure filled for these players, is that they have to show up every single time they step on the court, because there's no gimmies during this non-conference season.
You mentioned to Adam that the leadership on that trip. I mean, who are your leaders? Are your leaders your best players, like Winters and Kloth, or are they? Is it a group effort, or you know? Because sometimes that varies. The best players not all automatically your leaders. For
sure. We've had non-starters that have been our captains. Our captains aren't determined yet. We do it a little bit different. We kind of evaluate all spring. They give us some feedback, and then in about 2 weeks we'll probably name some captains. But you know, I think you'll see primarily juniors and seniors go into that role. But even if they're not named captains, like you said, there's people that do. You know, there's people that are the team organizer. What T-shirts are we going to wear? Make sure you're on time. Then there's the people that are on the court holding people accountable. There's lots of different ways to lead. And occasionally I'll have a player that does all of that. Maggie Baumert a few years ago kind of took all of those roles, but that's really rare. What I usually have is some players that naturally lead on the court, and maybe some players that naturally lead off the court. Some are more assertive and can have the hard conversations with kids. Some are the good listeners and support kids if they're struggling. And I think, you know, we want them all to develop as leaders. So even if players have captain titles, I still think, you know, players can establish leadership in different ways.
Where are you at setter right now, going in?
I don't know. It's an honest answer. I think that plays into, you know, what offense we run. You know, Madeline Cole got a concussion while we were in Europe, so she didn't get to play except for the last game. So, you know, some of those things we thought we'd see a little bit in Europe, and that didn't happen. So we have some tough decisions to make. And the good thing is I think they're both really good. And so I think we have some options.
Do you feel like, I don't know, when you're out on the recruiting trail or interacting with other coaches or people who are knowledgeable about volleyball, like they see Creighton the way you see Creighton? You know, I know you talk very highly of your program and think, hey, we can compete with anybody. Do you feel like others have bought into that as well, that same, or are you still working?
I don't know. You know, I to some degree don't care, in the sense of, you know, if my job is to make sure that when our players walk on the court, they feel like they're prepared to beat anyone on the other side of the court. And then our actions are going to determine the respect that we get. And I do think we've earned respect, you know, throughout the duration of the program. And maybe it was jumping from a 150 team to a 75 team. But, you know, I think we've moved in the right direction. And obviously we have more goals that we want to achieve.
Is it hard to get these games that you're scheduling? I mean, or
no,
most of the top programs are pretty willing to play anybody?
Yeah, it's not as hard as you might think, because a lot of teams want to play us, because again, the RPI game, we usually end up with a lot of wins.
Yeah.
And so we're a good team for them to play. Now, I will say, since, you know, 3 years ago when we went to the Sweet 16, it became a little bit more difficult for some of those top mid-majors to want to play us. But the top 10 wants to play us for sure. Yeah. Sometimes I'd rather play, you know, 20 to 30, and sometimes those can be a little bit more challenging.
Gotcha.
Kirsten, it's your 16th season here.
Jeez, you can drive now.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So old.
From where this started and where you are now, what do you think?
Well, you know, let's not get reminiscent at this point, but I think I've aged a lot. You know, when I started, I was a big sister. I think now I'm maternal to a lot of these players. You know, I've said this many times. I walked into a situation that I knew nothing about. I didn't know that I had the best AD in the country that I was going to work for. I didn't know if we had success that they'd support us the way that they have. I mean, you think, you know, the coach prior to me was playing at Omaha South High School, and then we moved to the Civic, which was a big deal to get the opportunity to play there. It's not the most beautiful facility. Well, it wasn't the most beautiful facility, but it was a home court, and we were able to kind of build from there. But to have this home court so cool in the Ryan Center is, you know, it's one of the premier facilities in the country. and now building a women's facility that we're still fundraising for, by the way. You know, that commitment, you know, to have an AD that coached a female sport is, I think, some of those things I didn't know, you know, 16 years ago, that I was walking into such a healthy situation. And then, of course, you know, there's so much talent in the area that you can build a program at our level with Midwestern kids.
Hey, how tough is Brittany? I mean, she seems like such a sweet girl, but man, you've seen her like flying into bleachers and breaking her, you know, body parts and whatever, and she seems like a tough cookie to be on.
She is. Brittany is a tough kid,
Yeah.
you know, and she demands a lot of herself, and she doesn't, you know, that's from a physical standpoint. That kid wants to work out all the time. She's on this, she eats all the right things. Academically, she's a 4.0 pre-med. I mean, we had a video shoot this morning, and I walk in and she's studying because she's in class right now, and she's like, I have a test tomorrow. So, and then, you know, when she crashed her face, she didn't cry through the whole thing. I mean, yes, I think tough is an accurate word for Brittany.
Does that rub off for the other girls to say, man, look at her go? Or do you hope it
Yeah,
does a little
yeah.
bit?
You know, again, it's, I always think it's whether the new players buy into what these other people are doing. Brittany works her tail off, but again, I don't feel like anyone on our team doesn't work hard. Sometimes they come in and they don't know how hard they have to work, but usually our strength coach is really, really good about pushing people to their limits. And I think, you know, you get pushed to a point that you don't realize how hard you can go, and then you're like, oh, I can do this, and now this is the expectation.
Jaali, what's your take on being picked second in the conference? No
Well,
respect for a four-time champ.
It's definitely different than I think what we've been picked in the past. At the end of the day, it's a preseason ranking. It's all based off of people's opinions and nothing statistical, so it really it doesn't mean much to us.
Were you surprised at all?
Yeah, I was surprised, for sure.
Jaali, this is your senior year. Just kind of what's this senior year meant to you and mean to you, and what's it been like these last 3 years?
These last 3 years have been incredible, honestly. It's just hitting me like today that this is my last year. So I'm excited to get started. Obviously, every moment is precious, and I don't want it to end.
Jaali,
You've
I
got
know-
a chance.
Go ahead.
You got a chance for the school record for kills. You're not that far away. What would that record mean?
For me, that record would mean that I have a lot of awesome setters that have given me a lot of awesome balls to kill. So for me, I think it just shows that I have great teammates and they trust me a lot.
I know the preseason poll, I mean, again, doesn't mean a whole lot, but you're always looking for extra motivation. How much do you think you'll bring it up in passing in the locker room just to get the team rallied up? Fired
Yeah,
up a little bit?
I mean, when stuff like that happens, the only thing you can do is take it positively and use it for motivation. So that's what we'll do.
What is this team like? Describe it for us. There's a lot of key people that are missing that went on and graduated. But, how does this team look?
Yeah, it's a lot different because we have so many new people, but in a lot of ways it's similar to how it's been every year. Everyone is kind, awesome people, and we all care about each other a lot, and I know that that's what's going to take us far.
Yeah, I know it's just one match, but you got to circle that Nebraska match. How excited are you to get them here? And it's going to be a huge crowd, and especially you didn't get a chance to play them last year.
I treat it like every other game. It's not
Come
something
on,
no, I'm serious.
seriously.
I
don't
treat
buy
it the same as every other game. I want to beat everyone, so it's not something that I have circled on the map. I just had to ask Rob, like, why is everyone asking about this? Like, it's like a month away. I don't understand. But, I mean, it'll be a good atmosphere. We have a lot of fans. They have a lot of fans. And, I mean, I'm excited to play in front of a crowd, as always.
You had a great match against them when your freshman year at the CenturyLink. What do you remember about that match, and how much did that motivate you playing them?
All I really remember about that match was losing. So, I mean, it'd obviously be great if the tables would turn this year, but yeah, that's all I remember.
How different is it? How different is it for you? You know, when you're coming in as a freshman and you're trying to, you know, figure out where this program's standing is, and now going into your senior year, you know, as a whole, you've established yourselves a lot more. What's the next step, I guess, for you guys in this program this year?
I mean, for the one thing for me that's never changed is going into every game believing that I'm going to win. And, I mean, our whole team demeanor is the same way. But after being here for 3 years, coming into my 4th season, it's like we know we're going to win. We know that we're supposed to win because we have the resume to back it up.
But 4 years ago, did you say Final Four, you know, Elite Eight, your national championship. Has that changed now since you came in? Since you have been able to achieve some of those?
Yeah, we definitely have bigger goals this year than in the past.
As in?
As in making it even farther in the tournament.
As in?
We don't know yet. We like to take it one game at a time.
Oh
so.
God, here we go.
Jaali, how much has Kirsten, since you came here, how much has she made you into a better player, and in what way?
Yeah, Kirsten, I mean, it's more off the court than even on the court. She's an incredible person herself, and I mean, she makes me want to be better for her. She's the type of coach that doesn't yell at you. You just want to do well for her because of the person that she is. I mean, I've loved playing for her for the past 3 years, and I'm excited for one more.
Two more for Jaali.
Well, you mentioned that you like all these new faces. You like them. They're good people.
Oh yeah.
But how has it been difficult to sort of get them on the same page in terms of like, hey, this is our standard? There's a lot of new things I'm sure that they're learning. What's that process been like in terms of just like integrating into your culture and what you expect out of each other?
I mean, all the girls, they have high expectations for themselves, but I mean, us as leaders and our coaches, we like to push people as much as we can and let them know that they're even better than they know, and just making sure that we're bringing out the best in everyone.
Having the trip to Europe earlier this summer, has that helped, you think, with the chemistry of the team heading into fall camp?
Yeah, our trip to Europe was amazing, and thank you to everyone that helped us be able to do that. And we got so much closer and just had so much fun. I mean, my favorite moments of that trip were just the candid moments that we got to laugh and have fun together.
So you guys were picked second.
Yes, we were.
Yeah, in the Big East poll. What's your reaction to it? Do you take offense to it?
I think that we just have to take the rankings with a grain of salt. I mean, it's all kind of when or how we end, not how we start, and we just have to prove ourselves.
Does that motivate you?
Yeah, I would say it's good motivation. I think that we know that we have to work hard. We always usually have a target on our back, so yeah, we have to perform well. We have to earn our spot. We can't just be given it.
Kirsten was saying the setter job still up for grabs and all that. I mean, do you guys feel like you have to really put in extra time to get that, whoever it may be, that setter really up to speed by the time games start rolling around?
I would say every spot is up for grabs, honestly, but yeah, I think everybody has to work hard. It's not just one position. There's lots of outsides this year. Last year we only had 2, so it's definitely going to be a fight this year, which is the best thing that we can have. A lot of great players and deciding which one that we can put on the court.
Do you have a preference running a 6-2 on offense or not, or does it matter to you as an outside hitter, you know, what you guys run?
Nope, I just want to win. I don't care if it's a 6-2 or a 5-1. I think as long as we have the best setters out on the court, that's what we need to do.
Jaali and you came in together. What has she meant to you as a teammate? And she could break some records this year. What do you think?
Yeah, Jaali has been an awesome teammate. Coming in both as outsides, we've really got to learn from each other and kind of figure out how we do things differently and the tips that we can give to each other. So when we're in hitting lines, we tell each other, remind each other, you know, we have to land on 2 feet. We could hit this spot. And even when we rotate in and out, we're always giving each other kind of feedback on where we can get the kills. We just want our team to do well.
For you as a player, what is the ultimate ending for you? I mean, it seems crazy that this is your senior year. How do you want your playing career to end here at Creighton?
I think we all know how we want to end the season, but I don't know. I'm trying not to think about the end because it's kind of scary. I have loved it here. I don't want it to end, and I want to finish really well.
Do you value the day-to-day a little more now because this is your last go-around?
Yes, it was really weird coming into a video shoot, and all the freshmen are super excited, and I was like, oh, I've done this for 3 years already, but yeah, I'm definitely taking it all in, and just knowing that it's my last season is kind of crazy. I didn't think 4 years could go this fast, but it definitely has.
What has Coach Booth meant to you in these last 3 years, and how much has she made you a better player?
Coach Booth is amazing, just her tactics on how she kind of sets you up as a player, and she doesn't just care about you just as a player. She wants you to become a better person while you're here too. So just all of her feedback and all the little tiny things that she can do to help, she's been amazing. She's she's a great coach.